Home buyer. This is a friendly guide to overcoming your biggest concerns. I'm Rick Rittman, the hardworking mortgage guy. This is an exciting time for you because you're actually thinking about buying your first home and likely worrying about the affordability, mortgage qualification, or maybe just not knowing where to start. We're gonna answer a lot of those questions for you today, and hopefully give you a playbook, a plan that gives you a lot of confidence that this is actually possible, because it is. For some of you, you're ready to go. Others, this is the first seed that's going to turn into something really big in your life. I'm excited. I am. I'm really excited for you. So let's get started and talk about whether what you should do or not do. And here's a question: are you tired of throwing your money away on rent? Do you feel stuck in your small apartment? Are you tired of hearing your neighbors at all hours? And then, is the noise in your building driving you crazy? It was when I lived in an apartment. Are you waiting to put down roots and start living your best life? If so, it's a good sign that you're ready to buy your first home. And also, you don't have time to settle for a living area that's not working for you. We spend way too much time there. Listen, if you're feeling trapped, or if you're feeling like, you want more out of your life for you and your family, or that this is really important, if you feel like you just can't live, that way anymore, that's probably the big one. And that's probably the big one. And what I mean by that is that you're tired of coming home to a cramped, boring living space that you can't customize. To your own taste, and you want to get up every day. I guess what I'm trying to say, if I could talk, and you want to get up every day feeling like you are a success and that your life is growing and you're accomplishing a lot. And you probably have accomplished a lot, but there's something you don't feel successful, partly because you don't own your own home. It's one of the big goals in most people's lives. A lot of people see this, that is sad reality of life, but that's not how I see it. I see it as a call. I see it as a wake-up call. I see it as a natural design, honestly, because if you keep trying to, make your life better and more fulfilled, and it isn't giving you the sort of fulfillment, success, and stature that you wanted, to give you by this point in your life, it is by design. You've had success, but it's not supposed to, to fulfill you forever. You probably felt that way when you got into your apartment success. If you're in an apartment, and then when you get in the house, you're going to feel the same way. But if you keep getting to feel fulfilled, you've got to pivot into a new, better life, which is your living arrangement. It's just such a big piece of your life. And I remember, and this is me, and this is in front of my first house, and it's actually the same house I live in today. I bought it many, many years ago. And I remember before I bought that house, living in a small apartment on Indy's northeast side. When we moved in, the apartment felt fantastic. It was a feeling of accomplishment. We brought our firstborn son there, a month after we moved in, and we were happy. But slowly, we started to outgrow the place. The building was noisy. It's the biggest thing I remember. It was very noisy, inside and out. And we'd get woken up by our downstairs neighbors fighting, and then they would make up. But let's not get into them making up. They also had a dog that would bark in the middle of the night. I was working hard, and I started to make a decent living. So I decided to buy a home, even though I actually at that time, I'd already bought 3 rental properties by that time, but I was still nervous because I didn't really understand the process of buying a home for myself and my family. I didn't have a mortgage guru. I had used 3 different people. None of them were impressive. I didn't have a realtor guru. I was kind of doing it on my own, finding, VA homes. And I was getting so much contradictory advice from friends and family that, I didn't really know where to turn. So my wife and I, we drove all over Indianapolis. We drove through neighborhoods, and you got to remember, this is before the internet. There was no internet. And so I didn't have that luxury. So we just drove all over. And we found a for sale sign in front of the house that we moved in. We found plenty, several. We went and looked at them, but I called the real estate agent off the sign and got a showing. The realtor who had the house listed, he didn't show up. He's had some kid that I don't even know if they were a licensed real estate agent sent out to show the house. It was what we wanted. It was more than I ever thought I could get, and we bought the home. And we really had no help from the realtor. We had no help from the mortgage person. Didn't even know where to go for our homeowners insurance. We're not gurus. I learned from these mistakes, and we'll be discussing how you can avoid them because you don't want to have those. So let's get started. But first, if you would, please put your name and what area of Indiana you're from, or if you're in another state where you're living now, and what your biggest concerns are about the mortgage and buying process, in the chat. Just do that in the chat. And it's just nice to get to know everybody and know who I'm talking to. So that would really be helpful if you don't mind doing that. And now we're going to get onto the agenda, and we're going to talk about the common fears and how they arise, address the top 5 concerns, because everybody has different concerns, real life success stories, question and answer, and next steps and special offer. The outcome by the end of this webinar, you'll know how to face your home buying fears and move forward with confidence. How most home buyers, because this is not just first time home buyers, but most home buyers feel confused and overwhelmed by the mortgage process. That's what I found. I've been in it for 24 years. But here on the Hardworking Mortgage Guys team, we offer personalized guidance to simplify your mortgage journey so you can confidently step into a new home and enjoy the admiration of your friends and family. I think that's really important. And so now let's move on to the 5 biggest fears. One is affordability concerns. Can I afford it? Qualification. I won't qualify for a mortgage. I know that's what a lot of people are thinking. I know I thought that. I don't have enough for a down payment. It's always a big concern we run into. And the real estate market is too confusing. And I don't know where to start. These are the 5 biggest fears I hear all the time from first-time home buyers. Does it sound familiar? Is this what you're going through? So first, let's talk about the fear of affordability. If you're waiting on home price, I hear this a lot right now. I heard it the other day. What? Should we wait till home prices come down? If you're waiting on home prices to come down, you're making a big mistake. The Indianapolis housing market is expected to appreciate a minimum of 4 years every year for the next 5 years. So your home will be more expensive if you wait. And as you can see, in 2020, our median home price, this is not average, this is median. So it does depend on who lists their homes, things like that, but it gives you a pretty good idea. But you can see from this chart, from 2020 to 2021, the homes went up from 184.9 to 207.922. In 2023 or 22, they were $233,742. In 2023, they were $262,558. Excuse me. And in 2024, they were $280,287. Now we're expecting them to continue to increase 4% a year till 2029 or more. Now, that's just the expectations. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that is the expectations. So you want to get on the right end of buying a home. You want to buy the home now and just buy what you can afford. And we're going to talk about some other ways you can make that work. Buy what you can afford and take advantage of the appreciation. It may not be your dream home that you buy for your first home. It may be the stepping stone home, the initial investment home that can get you to the next home because of the equity you build in that first home, rather than just throw the money away on rent. So that's, in my opinion, really important. I put the household income estimated needed, in 2024, but this is the income needed to buy a home of that price. And that, that's gross income. So you got an idea of what that income is. Now, so the affordability piece is one of those things that we really have to it really is best served by us setting a time to get together and you scheduling your consultation with me so we can get the information we need. And at some point, if it makes sense, get an application so we can actually qualify you and let you know what you can afford. And these are the steps. Okay, so what do you have to do to get qualified? First, you need to take an application, and you're going to get us a documentation, and you're going to get pre-approved. The application, first step there is we're going to have a consultation. We want to talk about it. I want to know what your goals, what your objectives are, what you're looking to do. And then I'll have you fill out an application. You do that securely online. We do a soft pull. So when you do that, it doesn't even affect your credit. If you think, well, I don't know what my credit is, which is a lot of fear of a lot of people. They don't know what their credit is. And what we get as a mortgage company could be different than what you have. Well, we need to see it because I have first, we have a wide variety of credit scores that we can finance. Secondly, right in my credit report, when we pull that soft pull, it tells me here's the credit score and here's what we think we can get it up to. So I can give you a plan on what your credit score could be if you do a little bit while we're going through the process or maybe before we go through the process. So you'll have that information. We want to help you get into the home. It's that important. So that qualification is not as scary as most of us think it is. And I know what it is. A lot of times we just don't want to be rejected. And that's not anybody's goal. Our goal is to help you figure out maybe you can't do it today, maybe you can. But if you can't, we want to make sure that we can, help you with that and and take care of it, and get you set up for that that information. So it's really, really important that we're able to do that. The next step is we're going to talk about overcoming fear number 3, which is the down payment requirements. And I know I've seen a lot of studies out there, and I'll call it my myth buster. The surveys, things that people think they need 20% down. That is not true. You do not need 20% down. We have programs. So I'm gonna start with, I just put their logos up here so you can see it. But let's start with the bottom. We have 2 programs that are programs that are no down payment programs. We have through that IHCDA is Indiana Housing. It's their down payment assistance program, and it is for first-time buyers. Now there's some pieces around it. There's always qualifications. But it is a zero down program. They lend you the down payment. You do have to pay it back, but they'll lend you up to 5%. If your down payment, if you went on an FHA, it's 3.5% down. It still leaves you with 1.5% to pay closing costs and prepaids. So you can, if you have the seller pay some credits, you can actually get in with very little to no money out of pocket. You're going to have some money out of pocket. Expect minimum of $500. But it's amazing how little you can get into a house. People really want to help you get into a house. We also have another lender. It's a correspondent lender we use that they have a down payment assistance program, much more open than the Indiana Housing. Doesn't have the income limits and some of the other issues that the Indiana Housing we run into. So we always want to look at that. Beyond that, you have your VA, which is if you're a veteran, you can qualify for the zero down program under VA, and that's a great program. So if you're VA, you don't have to put any money down. It is probably the best zero down program, which it should be. It's for our veterans, and then next to that is the kind of white and blue logo. That is the department. It's kind of weird. It's Department of Agriculture. We have a rural housing. They have a rural housing program, and it's very restrictive on income. So you can't earn too much money. But if you qualify for that program, which a lot of people do, you have to be okay with a rural house. The house has to be in the right area. But that is another program that has zero down. And so if you don't have any money, and that's another program you can actually get into if you have the seller paying some fees. You can get into it, some credits to you. You can actually get into that one with very little money out of pocket, $500, maybe even less. But you might have a little bit out of pocket. Then we have FHA, and FHA has their program is 3.5% down. So you do have to have 3.5% down. It's a great program. It's very accommodating for credit scores, and it allows a much higher, what we call debt to income. So you can have more housing debt and more total debt on an FHA than pretty much any other program out there. So it's a great program in the right situation. It's very forgiving, like I said, on credit scores. They go to a little lower credit score. They'll go as low as, in our programs, 580. That becomes difficult, but it is doable. And we really like to see it over 600. Then you have Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. They want to see credit scores, 620 or above, really prefer 640. They are on a first-time home buyer. As long as they have income limits, but as long as you're under their income limits and you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as little as 3% down. So 3% down, you buy a $200,000 house, that's $6,000. If you should be able to get in for, depending on all of it, you're probably 12 to 15,000 total. But then with seller credits and the way we do taxes here in Indiana, it could be much less than that. So those are the programs if you're looking at low down. They're also, most of those are programs if you aren't looking at low down. You can do Freddie and Fannie, you can put 20%, 25, 30%. You can do that on all of these programs. It's just, if you're going to put a lot of money down, you're going to be better off looking at Freddie, Fannie, or FHA than any of the true 100% programs. So that's what you would be looking at. And it matters, because it's worth getting into a house, even if you don't bring any money into the home. And I apologize, I hit the wrong button. So I hope everybody understands that, what that, that information. Now let's go to overcoming fear number 4, and that's the real estate market complexity. I put a lot of information here. So, a modern growth rate in Indiana, I pulled this out so you could get an idea. We're just looking at growth rates in Indiana, 1.8 to 3.4, by mid 2025, and it has projected to have 4%. And these numbers come from all over, and everybody gives different numbers. So this is what they're looking at. They're expecting the increased inventory levels, and that happens every January. It happens every winter. Our inventory levels go up, and then as we hit spring, the inventory levels come down because a lot of people come out and they buy in the spring, and we are hitting that spring market. We actually hit it a little while ago. So the spring market is here, and the increase in inventory it was up, and it's starting to come down a little bit. They believe we're going to shift toward a more balanced market, but we are still in a seller's market. But we're still looking at 4% increase in value. I just cannot stress enough that you don't want to wait till the market, for prices to come down, because that's not really what we're going to be looking at. It's not really what's going to happen. And then there's a rise of build to rent and new construction. Now, build to rent isn't really what you're looking for. You want to buy a home. You want to own the home. You want what it gives you to be, a homeowner, and a home, not just the investment quality, but what it does to your psyche, how it makes you feel, what it does for people around you, how they look at you. Even on your job, they look at you different when you own the home. You're more established. You're more rooted in the community. So there is the new construction, and there's a lot of new construction. For the most part, it's difficult for first-time home buyers to go into the new construction because they're a little higher priced, and it just is it can be a little difficult. I used to work for a builder for 11 years, so I know that it was mostly move-up buyers that we worked with, and it still is, from what I understand. So I told you about the market. This happens to be the Indianapolis market, and this is showing you one of the pieces that I have available is to show each market, whether it's a buyer market or a seller's market. And you can see in this one, that Indianapolis is a seller's market. It's not a huge seller's market, but it is a seller's market. I think that's around 40%. 30% is an even market, and I think it's at 42%. So it's not a hugely strong seller's market, but it's still a seller's market. And and the reason I have this, and I get it to my customers, if you were working with me, I'd send you the link. You can go, and then you can look at each market that you're looking at if you decide, where you want to be. And it's going to show you this is just one piece of what this program will show you. But it really helps you understand, what that market is. But with all that we've talked about, the biggest way and the best way to get through any of the fears or concerns that you have are to work with what I call gurus, and I call them that because I have a podcast called Indy's Real Estate Gurus, where I have a bunch of gurus in Indiana on my show, real estate agents, insurance people, of course myself, and we talk about the markets and really their businesses. So I have all these great guru agents that do a huge volume of business that I work with, and insurance people that can help you and guide you through these processes. They've helped hundreds and thousands of people through the process, and it all depends on what area you're in and what you feel like people you would work best with. But that's how you get through it. You get through it with reliable guru realtors and mortgage people and insurance people, because we can walk you through everything. It's the entire process has guru people that you can work with. So it's important that like even when you close or when you're going through, we have a title company and they take care of everything. Your real estate agent will take care of most everything. So we take care of most everything. So everything is very simple to do. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't create the anxiety in you that I know it does. I was on a call yesterday with a first-time home buyer, and they were very nervous. And we spent about an hour on a phone call and walked through everything. And they got their pre-approvals today. They filled out their application last night. They got their pre-approvals today. They're coming. They're actually out of state. They're coming in town, not this weekend, but next weekend to look at houses. And so they feel much more comfortable because they were able to talk to somebody who understands. I've been through it, and I've helped thousands of people through it. Over 6,000. I quit counting, so it's probably in the 8,000 people that I've helped through these processes. And the agents I work with have all helped many people or have a team that they just know so much that will walk you through everything and make sure it's as easy as possible. So you don't have to figure out the market alone. You don't have to figure out the mortgages alone. You don't have to figure out any of that alone. We have gurus, professionals who can guide you every step of the way. So what's number 5? The overcome fear number 5 is a lack of knowledge and experience. And we kind of just covered that in a variety of ways. But how can you make yourself, or this is what I found, it helps you make yourself a little more comfortable. Free webinars like this, that always helps. If this, one was that wasn't enough, I'm working to do these every 3 weeks to make sure that, we keep that information out there and we help as many people as we can understand this process. So that, keep coming back. Workshops, online resources, all of that matters. I'm going to give you some of those here in a minute. Ask questions. There's no question is too small or silly. It's your future at stake. It's your financial future at stake. Along with your mental. I mean, it really does it. Mental. I'm a finance guy, so I tend to think about the finance, but I know that it helps immensely mentally when you own your home rather than rent your home. And team support. This is important. You're not alone. We use trusted gurus, experts that can help you navigate the process. The key takeaway here is information is power. And the more you learn, the more confident you're going to become. That's what it takes. You've got to learn. You got to grow. You got to understand. Think about anything you've done in your life. When we first started, it's hard. Look at a little baby trying to walk. It's hard, but they have a lot of experts around them that can walk, and they can see them walking. Well, you have that too. You can see all these people out there who own homes, and then you have experts, gurus who do this every day. And one of the things I would say is you can't avoid it, but you got to be careful who you take advice from. Your parents, your friends, your family, your coworkers, they mean well, but they don't really understand, and things change in this industry constantly. So what somebody did 2-3 years ago when going through the house buying process and the mortgage process, it could have all changed. The rules could have changed. And their situation probably was different than yours, because every situation is different. And if they don't work in it every day, yeah, they have some idea, but they don't really understand. You're better off talking to somebody who really knows the business. But let's go on to some suggested resources. Website, the National Association of Realtors, that offer a wealth of information for first-time home buyers. So you can just Google, National Association of Realtors. Zillow is good. I like Redfin for property searches and market insight, but it just gives you an idea what's going on. You need a guru agent. If you want to start looking at houses, you want to start narrowing it down, the best thing you can do is go to my website, or, there's going to be some here where you can just schedule a call with me. You can go to the website and you can schedule time with me where I can talk with you, find out what it is, where you want to look, what price range you want to be in, when you want to do this. And I can get you with the right agent, the guru agent that's going to be best with you. And if you want more than one, I can give you that. I prefer not to. I prefer to really just give you one. If that doesn't work out, I can give you another one. But I have hundreds, and I know them, and I want you to have the one that is going to work best with you in the area that you work. They got to know the area, and they got to be there for you and have the time to take care of you. The First-Time Homebuyer Handbook is a comprehensive guide for first-time home buyers. I have a book, which if you schedule an appointment today, it's an ebook that I can send you. It gives you tons of information about this process. And I think it's easy to read. I just finished it, just got it. My editor edited it. So I may be a little slow getting it out, but I'll get it out to you in the next few days if you schedule an appointment with me. And then calculators, online calculators. Now we have it on our main site at Advisors Mortgage Group or advisorsmortgage.com. We have online calculators, but if you need a calculator, you can let me know. I like to put it together for you. And the reason is because you don't really know what the rate is based on your credit score, your down payment, your debt to income ratio. There's so many things that go into it that I'd rather put it together. I'd rather know the information, put it together. And I have a beautiful presentation that I can send you it's an interactive presentation, and it will give you a lot of great information. I put a video with the main piece, and then I send you the link to go to the what I call the loan comparisons. But I will put that together, and like I said, I put a video with it and explain it as quickly and easily as I can, just pointing out the main points. But if you look at it, you'll get it. And if you don't, you can always talk with me, and I'll walk you through it. Let's talk about, some people, I think it's important that you know whether, can you do this? And I can tell you can, because I've worked with thousands of people. And I just want to tell you about a few of them. Let's take this case study one is Mary and Justin. They were due with their first baby, and they wanted a home to bring the baby to, right? Their own home. They didn't want to bring it to their apartment. They wanted to bring it to their own home. They had a single limited income, and they did not have a real estate agent. And so they did the right thing. They called me first. And the reason you call the mortgage company first is because you need to be pre-qualified. You need to know what the lender will lend on a home. So you're looking at the right price range. And so that's what they did. They called me, we walked through it. They filled out an application, and we came up with what they could afford, which was in the range that they wanted to be in. And we found them the perfect real estate agent. They wanted to be in a certain area. This person is fantastic in that area. He lives in the area. He knows the area. He works in the area. He's been doing it for years, and he's a guru real estate agent. He's one of the top agents in the city. So we get, they worked with him. He was able to find them a house. They were able to close on the house. We walked them through everything, and they are thrilled with their new home. They were able to, I think it was 3 months after they closed, they brought their baby home, and they were cutting it tight, and they weren't sure it was going to happen, but we made it happen for them, and they're thrilled to death. Case study 2 is Ariel, and she shopped for a home. I put over a year. It was almost 2 years she shopped for a home before finding her dream home. And when she found her dream home, it was really the area, the lot, the land it was on, because she ended up wanting to be out in the country, and she loved the land, and then she had her home inspection. This is an area that can create issues when you're buying a home, and because of the issues, and the seller wouldn't take care of them, she had to walk away from that home, and she was devastated. But then, after 3 weeks, she was out looking at homes and everything else. The seller came back, in my opinion, came to their senses, and made a deal with her. And she was able to get the home that she wanted, and she actually saved money. It was a good thing. On hers, her appraisal came in lower than what her purchase price was, which some buyers think that's a problem, but normally it works out in their favor. But it's a protection to make sure you don't overpay for a property. And everything worked out, and she is as happy as could be, and you'll see that because of her testimonial here in just a minute. And these people, all of them started out with doubts, fears about the process, but they found the right guidance, and now they're happy homeowners just like you can be. If they can do it, sorry about that, you can do it. So I want to talk about one other thing, and this is something to think about. A lot of times, if you're not buying your dream home, so it doesn't have to be your dream home. It can be your starter wealth builder home. I can't stress that enough. So the first home, maybe you would prefer to have a $1 million house, but you can't afford $1 million house. So you start at a lower price. You start where you can afford. It's better than renting because you're building equity. You're building wealth. And one of the things I've had people do is they buy a home and they live there for 2 years, approximately 2 years. Then they make that home a rental property and they buy a nicer home. And that one's for you, right? You buy the next one up, and you take that home you bought as your primary and you make it a rental, and you collect money, and the money coming out of that home should cover your expenses on the home and maybe more. And then you do it again, and you do it again. And if you did it every 2 years, in 10 years, you'd have 5 homes. And you'd likely have a net worth in the $500,000 to $1 million range. Now, it's on paper. It's not money in your pocket. But think about what that can do for you in your life. Now, I'm probably older than everybody on this call. And if you just owned, after 30 years, you just owned 20 rental properties, 20 homes, and it could be doubles. Your first home could be a double. And you could rent out one half when you move in there. That's a great way to do it. But let's say you had 20 homes and you had them paid off after 30 years. And I'm using today's money. It'd be a lot higher than this. But if they were rented at $2,000 a month and you had 20 homes, you'd have an average monthly income before the expenses of the home of $40,000. Now, probably after expenses, you would have $20,000. Now, what would that mean to you if you had from the homes that you owned, you had $20,000 in income, disposable income you could use along with your normal income and maybe Social Security or whatever else you're on. That could change your life. It's a great way to build wealth. Homes build wealth. You always have to remember that. So it's worth buying a home that may not be your dream home, but it's a great starter home. It's just a short term. You just have to work through it. Now let's talk about the testimonials. So this first one is Ariel. She's from the last one. And she, I kind of hate this because I don't like bragging about myself, but she wrote it, not me. Rick Rippin is the only reason I selected advisors. His expertise, willingness to educate, availability for phone calls, and response times were above exceptional. I felt my best interest was always at the front of any discussion and decision. I take it very seriously when people need to get a hold of me. I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times when I make mistakes. I'm human. But I call back. I have a very, very high sense of urgency. So I tend to call back or get back with people extremely quickly. Now, like I'm on a webinar, I can't get back with somebody right now, but when I get off, if anybody contacted me, I'll probably contact them and tonight. And over the weekend, I tend to watch what's going on because I love what I do and I love helping people out. And I think I would retire, but I can't because I love it. The next one, and she's from Frankfurt. I told you she bought out in the country. She bought in Frankfurt. The next one is Rob R. from La Crosse. And we had a great experience working with Rick and his team. He is quick to respond to any question and always got important matters resolved quickly. We highly recommend Rick. It goes along with what Ariel said. The next one is Ann B. from Brownsburg. I appreciate how well Rick explained the mortgage process. He is very knowledgeable about mortgage banking, yet takes the time to explain the details to his clients. I take that very seriously. And if I explain something and it doesn't make sense, I want people to tell me, because I think that is the most important thing I can do. Is I don't want to make decisions for you. I want to educate you so you can make the decision that's right for you. Because I can have my idea what I think's right for you, but I don't actually know everything going on in your life. I don't know where, your situation exactly. I know generally, so I can give you, based on what I know, but I really just want to educate you and then let you make the decision that's best for you. Some people ask me, well, what would you do? Well, my situation is different. If I were going to do it, this is what I would do, but that doesn't mean it's right. There's people who like to pay off their home. There's people like me who like to have their home financed and use that money to invest in other homes or in stocks, bonds, whatever it is that I want to put my money in. And then the last one is from Stephen H. out of Whitestown. And Rick was incredibly helpful and available throughout our entire loan process. As a first-time home buyer, I was a bit overwhelmed in the beginning, probably just like you are. But Rick made things easy, and we ended up with a better interest rate than anticipated. Now, how does that happen? It's because one of the things I will do is if it looks like rates are going down, we will not lock right away. I'll watch the rate. I'll watch them every day, all day long. And as we get better and better and closer, we can lock in. Or if the market starts to turn on us, we can lock in before we lose the rate. Again, things can happen that we can't always avoid, but 99.9% of the time I can avoid that and get people the very best rate. And this just shows some pictures of some of the houses that we've worked on and helped people with. Now we're into the question and answers. Does anybody if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I want to be able to answer those. Whatever concerns you have about buying your first home, is there anything you'd like to explore more in depth? I think that would be helpful. And we'll kind of look at that while you're thinking. I'm going to move on to the next step. And the next step is, we really need to set a personalized call. We need to talk, and everybody's situation is unique. Yours is different than anybody else's. And it needs to be directly based on what you need. So you can schedule a call. You can scan that QR code on your phone if you're not on your phone. Or I think in the chat we put a link in to my scheduling, my booking line, so you can book it there. If you do schedule today, once I have my book done, which again it should be done and ready to go probably by the end of the weekend. The book you'd receive, it's my ebook. It's called The Book on Mortgages. So I wrote the book on mortgages. It's jam-packed with helpful information when buying a home. That gives you a little bit about me, doesn't it? So the key takeaway is a conversation can save you time, money, and unnecessary stress. There's no obligation to the call. We just want to walk through it. Now I see a question. Is building a home process better or worse than buying a new home? Personally, I think that it's just different. I'm not going to say it's better or worse. There's negatives and positives to both. So building the home, the positive of building a home is you get a home that's never been lived in. So you're getting the home that you wanted. They're going to put the paint on the walls that you want for the most part. They're going to do, it's going to be more originally more to your taste, possibly, because there are options. We can do renovation loans when you're buying a home, so you can do that also upfront in the mortgage. The negatives to buying what I found when I worked for a builder, the negatives of buying a home is they tend to be more expensive when you build them. They take some time to build unless you buy a spec. So, right now you're probably looking at 5 months. A builder tends to price the home based off of cost, not based off of what other homes in the area sell for. So they base it off of what it costs. If it costs $200,000 and they want a 20% markup, they're going to sell the house for $240,000. That's just how they do it. If the house is worth $220,000, they don't really consider that. They got to get their markup. At least that's what they did when I was in the business. And you also, when you're buying an existing home, you have an established neighborhood, you have established neighbors. You don't have, the dirt on the roads. You don't have the nails in the roads. You pick up when you're in a new neighborhood. If you're one of the newer people, you get a little better price in the home, but you have to live through a lot: the dirt, the noise, the nails. Probably most people have 2 or 3 flats while they live in a brand new neighborhood because of the stuff that gets on the roads. It's hard to avoid. Now, the neighbors are established, an established neighborhood. The trees are established. All that's established. The positive of a new neighborhood is everybody's brand new. So sometimes it can be easier to make friends in your neighborhood. I did not find that the case for me. I bought in an existing neighborhood and we had friends immediately from the neighborhood. One of our neighbors is still here and we're great friends. So, and that's the other thing about buying a home. When you root down, you root in a home, you're in that neighborhood, you get to know people, and it just makes life, in my opinion, better. So the key takeaway, a conversation, like I said, can save time, money, and unnecessary stress. So anybody have any other questions? I'm going to just, don't do this alone. Don't start the process without a guru team on your side. You just don't have to. The chances of you reaching your goals of having a really great experience are infinitely higher if you work with the Hardworking Mortgage team and my realtor and insurance gurus. You're just going to have a better experience. So go schedule your free consultation. Scan the QR code or go to hardworkingmortgageguy.com. It's hardworkingmortgageguy.com. The only hard word in there is mortgage. It's MORTGAGE. Believe me, I'm a terrible speller. So if you're a good speller, probably not. But a bad speller, It's hard. You can see I put it on the screen too. And schedule your call. We just want to talk. We want to go over everything. And I'll leave this screen up for a minute or two so that you have time to scan it. I really do appreciate you attending. I appreciate you spending your time with me. And I know it was a commitment, but you are one step closer to owning your first home. And don't let fear hold you back. We can walk you through the process and make it as stress-free as possible, as easy as possible. You learned a lot tonight, but remember, everybody's situation is different. And right now, we are going to, we are doing the free consultation, and just click the code. It looks like I've scheduled my call. Okay. And great. Thanks, Brittany. So just so you don't, the address again, I'm kind of bad that way. Hardworkingmortgageguy.com. Smash that schedule your call button, and I'll send you your free, my ebook for free. I just have to finalize it. It's basically finalized. I just have to set up the style. Anyway, I do appreciate it. I think I think that this is a big deal for you guys. Buying your first home is a huge deal, and it can put you on the road to financial success. And I really do appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And the same link in the, we did put the link. Thanks. I appreciate that, Brittany. Yeah, we did put the link in the chat. So you can go to the chat. You can pull the link to the booking schedule. That will do the exact same thing. And we'll talk when you schedule that. I think I have it out for you can schedule within the next 3 weeks. The sooner the better, probably. But and if you need a special time, we can do it by out of the normal times if we need to do that. And again, I do appreciate it. Thanks everybody so much. Thanks for joining us. If you have any friends that you think could also use this, we're doing this. I'm trying to do it every 3 weeks. Let me know who they are. I'll send them a special invitation so that they can sign up for one in the future. And if you want to join again, please let us know that. We'd love to have you again. I think that can help. So, all right. And Christine, I don't know if you saw that, but my glasses I got the wrong glasses on. Sanya is, she doesn't see the link. So could you make sure we get her the link? And so she has that. Anybody else have any other questions? There you go. There's the link. Sanya, can you see that link? And does that work for you? Can you copy it? All right, perfect. Excellent. Anybody else have any other questions? Don't want to leave anybody out. You're welcome. And we'll stay for another couple minutes and see if anybody has anything else. But if not, then we'll close it down. Yeah, Sanya said she got the link. It says Rick, but it's actually my assistant, Christine. So she didn't see that you got the link. But yeah, Sanya got the link. And everybody, yeah, okay. Christine, will you take that down? Make sure that we send Sanya once we get the next one set up, which I can't set up until this one's completed. So I'll probably set it up tomorrow or Saturday, and then we can send her the information so she can come to the next webinar. Has everybody enjoyed the webinar? Do you feel like it was valuable for you? Probably everybody's gone. I'm going to stay till 6:50, which is coming up, and then we will shut this thing down. And again, we appreciate it very much. So thank you so much for joining us. And Yeah, education is very important, Sanya. All right. All right, perfect. Well, I'm going to shut this down. I appreciate everybody coming, and please, you can go to Hardworking Mortgage Guy, and you can always, hardworkingmortgageguy.com, hardworkingmortgageguy.com, and you can get a hold of me there. And it has all my phone numbers and everything else, so you can call from there, or you can schedule a call, whatever works. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Christine? Yep. Yep.